De la right, my MVVs, welcome. It is rumored that three Bïrï pots have been uprooted from the palace of the Ooni of Ife, planted by whoever, with the inscription of Queen Naomi and Ooni of Ife inside the pot. Now, they said that this Bïrï pot represent darkness, represents unhappiness, represents disunity, represents chaos, represent a whole lot of stuff, and that it was planted in three different locations. And those Bïrï pots have just been recently planted. That it's not something that had been there the entire time. That from the way they were uprooted, you could tell that it's something that had been recently planted in the palace of the Ooni of Ife. It is also rumored that, that happens to be the reason why the deities of the palace of the Ooni of Ife have been so restless. We have heard even from history that Ife land is the land of deities, that they have up to 401 deities in the land of Ife. And for every of them, they have ceremonies for them. They represent something, greatness, and the rest of it. But that when deities begin to cry, you begin to see signs like for the king, they start seeing signs like fire, burning furnace, and all of that. It's a sign to know that something is wrong. And they said that they were not able to ascertain what the problem is until Ooni took it upon himself to, pull the bull by the horn by going to bring 7 Brazilian Ifa priests to the palace, because they needed to know as a matter of urgency what the problem is. Now, in the last 1 week or 9 days, the palace have been celebrating celebrating so much, celebrating the birth of the twins, Kehinde and Taye. And, everybody, a lot of people didn't pay attention to what was happening at the back where the deities' huts are. But after the celebration, they said that as they settled down to sleep, because the entire night, all of those days, they had fireworks, people dancing, playing drums in the palace and all of that. They were not hearing most of those sounds that were coming from the hall. And when the celebration started ceasing, they started hearing that the sound has increased from where they left it, trying to find out what the problem was. And when they went there, they say one of the pots was completely empty, the other one, the eye was open, and a whole lot of stuff that nearly made everyone to run out of the palace. The fear and everything has been so much because nobody is able to tell what the real problem is. And so when Ooni of Ife brought this Brazilian Ifa, 7 of them from Brazil, to come and check what the problem was. They said one Ghanaian man had already talked about a pot that was planted in the palace, but that man did not say there were 3. But when these men came, they found 3. That so far they've been able to dig 3 out. Whether there are more or not is the information that we didn't get, but they said they have been able to dig 3 out. And the 3 of this Bïrï pot had Queen Naomi and Ooni of Ife's name inside, inscripted in them, apparently to make sure that they do not come back together. And they say, and a whole lot of stuff that they were able to dig out, some other stuff that have been planted in the palace of the Ooni of Ife. Now the question that Ooni of Ife is asking, who is responsible for this? Who are the people who planted this, and what is this meant for? But they said the Ifa priests have already, those Ifa Seers have already told Ooni of Ife what the Bïrï pots are meant for. And besides, even if you're not told, the fact that your name is written clearly in it, and that of your wife, you know that this is something that's supposed to, represent a very big hindrance, between a big wall between Olori Naomi and the Ooni of Ife. So they they will be, having serious problems all the time. But so far, so good. They have been strong enough to overcome this. And they said that is one of the major reasons why those Ifa priests have been crying so much. Now, it is rumored that the Brazilian Ifa priests are saying that all the wives will need to be summoned to find out who actually brought those pots and where they brought the pot from. But unfortunately, the wives are not in the palace. Most of them are not there. Wives like Lori, Naomi, Ashley is not in the palace. Miriam is not in the palace. Dr. Elizabeth is not in the palace. But of course, for Dr. Elizabeth, everybody is very sure that it will never, ever, ever, ever be Dr. Elizabeth. So right now, from what we are hearing is that they are saying that they need to summon all the wives and they have to come from wherever they are to come and sit so they can talk together, and they need to know exactly where they brought those pots from. They say one of the far priests is saying one of the pot looks like a pot that would have been brought from Benin Republic, like that something that was prepared in Benin Republic. That there are three of those pots that they represent darkness. Wherever they plant those pots, there would never be peace. That there would always be bass, bows, bass, and all of that. But they need to know where the pots were brought from so they can return those pots back to where they were brought from. They say they've been able to identify where one of those pots came from. They say it's a pot that came from Benin Republic. And so the other two they need to. But the truth remains that is it not true that even if they summon all the wives, perhaps nobody is going to agree that they brought those pots there? We have seen this, we have had rumors like this over and over again. Whoever admitted to have done anything wrong up until now. And so that is the situation of things. They say the Ooni of Ife has been very, very devastated, very worried. They say Olori and Naomi too has been very, very worried. They say when she heard about the Bïrï pot, that they dug out the Bïrï pot, that she was praising and she cried so much. And they said the Ooni of Ife felt really, really bad and was pleading with her that this happens to be what I brought upon us. That if I had not gone this far to do what I did, we probably will not be where we are right now, which happens to be the truth. But right now, they say the pots have been dug out, three of them. And at night again, midnight, they are going to go around to see if, pots will respond to them from other parts of the soil in the palace, because that is how they have been finding some of those pots that were buried there. I'm going to bring you more update. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.